We are so lucky to have the incredible Venus Williams as part of Team Asutra.
Good products, they find their way to good people.
And there are just not enough women in leadership roles.
You strongly believe in like an increased focus on prevention rather than treatment.
There's so much we can learn from both Eastern medicine and Western medicine that can create a more holistic approach to wellness.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me today for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
So my guest today is Stephanie Morimoto, and you're the owner and CEO of Asutra, which is a woman-owned and woman-led business offering clean and accessibly priced organic wellness product. And we're so honored to have you here today.
Well, that was a great introduction to Asutra. Our mission at Asutra is what we call active self-care. So we sell natural remedies for pain relief, sleep support, and mood boosting to help you feel your best so that you can be your best in the world. Because we believe when you take care of yourself on purpose, you can be a better leader, creator, family member, friend, community member. And I think that's what we all really want, right? We want to get the most out of life and be the best people that we can. As I mentioned, our best sellers are topical products for pain relief, sleep, and mood. And then for me personally, I've done a wide range of things, everything from help women of color start small businesses in Chicago, which is my hometown, to work in education to help more kids get a better education in high needs communities. And the combination of those experiences led me to Asutra because I wanted to run and build a business that not only does good stuff for its customers, but also takes good care of its employees.
Beautiful. Maybe for those who are not familiar, could you give us like a 30-second intro to the core focus of Asutra?
Yeah, like I said, our mission at Asutra is active self-care. We want wellness to be accessible and affordable for everyone. And what we found in our market research and talking to our customers is that when you're in pain or you're not sleeping well or you're having a hard time adjusting your mood, those things can really take their toll on how you live your everyday life. And that's why we focus our products in alleviating those areas, right? We have natural pain relief creams with magnesium, menthol, and capsaicin. We have different sleep aids that come together in a total sleep ritual. We have aromatherapy from essential oils to help you reboot your mood, whether you maybe need more energy or more focus or more calm. So that's what we really do. And while, of course, we want to provide these products with great ingredient formulations that work in accessible ways to people, we also really want to be an inspiration to everyone to incorporate, maybe it's just one thing, right? One new habit or one different practice that really helps you take care of yourself on purpose.
And supporting an uplifting woman is at the core of your business. Why is this so important to you?
I think we as women in particular are trained to take care of everyone else before we take care of ourselves. I felt this personally. I was in a series of jobs that were really intense. I was traveling a lot. I was working 18-hour days. I would collapse at the end of the week on the sofa exhausted. And even though I was so tired, it was hard to sleep well. And I realized I was burning out, right? I had hit a wall and I was not taking care of myself well. And I realized this was not the way that I wanted to live anymore. And I think a lot of us have experienced burnout or some version of it where we're working. We're taking care of everyone else, but we're not stopping to rejuvenate ourselves. And that just leaves us exhausted and running around in circles and not necessarily doing the things that bring us joy and that allow us to be our best selves and contribute the most to this world. Having lived that and then having recovered from that, I embarked on a 10-year journey to learn how to take care of myself well, from sleeping better to eating more nutritious foods to getting more movement to figuring out how to make the time to do things that truly bring me joy. And it was transformative. It really saved my life. And I wanted to build a sutra to help inspire other people through my journey to do the same in their lives.
That's beautiful. And I love that you use the word joy because that's one word we at the Healing Company, we always refer back to because it's such a powerful word. So I would love to know what the definition of joy is for you.
I think joy for me is really being in that state of flow. You probably remember when you were a kid, the things you loved to do, whether it was, riding your bike with your friends for endless hours in the summer, or reading a book, or playing a certain game, or whatever it might have been, where you just lost track of time because you were doing something that you really loved that brought you joy. And they say, as you all well know, when you do things that you're good at that do bring you that joy, it also creates new synapses in your brain that make you better at that thing. And so when you're doing something that you're great at, when it's bringing you joy, when you can lose that track of time, I think that for me is the definition of joy, when I can be in that flow, when I can do something that feels great, but I know is also doing something great in the universe.
Yeah, that's a great definition. I totally agree to that. And what I really love about Asutra is that you've built such a diverse team. Was this on purpose? Was this part of your core values of Asutra? Or how did this happen?
It was on purpose. I was lucky, even though I experienced burnout at different points in my career, I've also been very lucky to work in diverse organizations led by women of color, men of color, and those leaders taught me the importance of lifting up others who may not have access to as much opportunity as those who've been the majority or who've had power historically. And, they also really taught me that I think we all say this, and, especially in corporate America, that diversity is so important, that equity and inclusion is so important. But I truly have seen, both in my past jobs and now at Asutra, the real power of improving your business, of improving the results you get for customers when you have a truly diverse team. So for me, it was intentional. As we talked about, we as women are trained to take care of everyone else and not ourselves. And I wanted to create a brand with Asutra and a set of products and tips that could really help women in particular, but really everyone take care of themselves better. And in order for us to serve our customers well, our team has to represent who our customers are. And that's racial diversity, it's gender diversity, it's socioeconomic diversity, but it's also diversity of where you are in your wellness journey, right? Some of us, I've been lucky to be on this 10-year journey discovering how to live well and better every day. Other people on our team have chronic pain issues or chronic illnesses or really struggle with sleep or movement, but they're learning how to incorporate those things into their daily practices.
And how did Venus Williams, who's an incredible businesswoman and sportswoman, become your business partner?
We are so lucky to have the incredible Venus Williams as part of Team Asutra. And the craziest part of the story is she cold called us. So Venus was using our topical pain relief creams as part of her training regimen. She had found them online and she said, I've never heard of this brand, but this product works so well for me. Can you find out more about it? She said to her team. So we got a cold email at our customer support email address. And, luckily we saw it. And they didn't say they were reaching out on behalf of Venus. They just said, we have somebody who really loves your brand. We'd love to learn more about your brand. So I took the call and it was an incredible call. They did not say at the front why they were calling, but they asked all about our story. And I told them our mission of active self-care, that we're women-owned, women-led, very diverse team, very committed to products that work and that are accessible for all people to use. And they said, wow, this is so inspiring. I love what you stand for. I love what you're doing. And I said, well, can I ask, how did you find out about us? And they said, you're not going to believe this, but Venus Williams uses your product. Love them so much that she asked us to call you and find out more. Wow. And of course, my jaw dropped at that moment. But it was an incredible journey. We spent the next few months talking with her team. She expressed interest in meeting with me personally. So she sat down with me in person right before the US Open. And she loved what we were trying to do. And she said, I'd love to join Team Asutra and help you grow the brand and the business. So she joined us as a part owner and our chief brand officer in the spring of 2019.
That's incredible. She's such a power woman. And that's just serendipity. Yes. I sometimes think like good products, they find their way to good people. And that you could be so proud of yourself to have her by your side because she really embodies, I think, a lot of what you talked about, what you wanted. She was Asutra prior to having met her. So so it's so great that she's part of it now. And how come that you guys have put such a strong focus on magnesium at Asutra?
Well, as you and your audience probably know, magnesium is so good for you, right? It's the fourth most abundant mineral in your body, and it's critical for over 300 healthy body processes, from feeling a sense of calm and getting a great night's sleep to brain function to recovering faster after exercise. And you can, of course, ingest it through pill form or liquid powder form. But for us, we love it in topical form because, again, we're really trying to help people with both the acute issue they might face. Maybe it's muscle cramp or chronic neck or back pain or trouble calming down before they want to go to sleep. And magnesium is so good for all of those things. So we combine magnesium with other active ingredients like cooling menthol or warming capsaicin for pain relief, or melatonin for sleep support. In topical form, it can absorb through your skin, and it can also avoid stomach upset, which some people experience when they take magnesium orally.
I've been obsessed with magnesium, to be honest, because I work out a lot, and I've always had like issues sometimes with sleeping through at night. And so I always used to wake up like 4 or 5 times. Like I take magnesium every night before I go to bed, and my sleep is so much better. My recovery is so much better. And it's really something that I learned about myself, that it's one product that I would just recommend anyone to take, because a lot of people are so deficient in it. It's such a powerful mineral that we need. And I think it's great that you with the company have put such a core focus onto magnesium and said that, okay, a lot of these products are based around magnesium. What is a health benefit? Because a lot of brands, they have so many focus areas, and having magnesium as a core focus and then building below that, I think is really powerful about your brand, which I really love. In an ever-growing wellness industry, how do you maintain relevance with your customers?
Well, I think what you just said about having a core focus on magnesium, which is in some ways a unique ingredient in a lot of wellness products, that helps, right? You can explain the science, you can explain the research around what magnesium does for you, what the health benefits are. You brought up a great point that 2 in 3 people are deficient in magnesium, at least in the United States, because we're not getting enough magnesium in our diet. And using magnesium orally, topically, as we provide it, can provide so many wellness benefits to you. So I think, that's key. The other thing for us is, we want to provide products that help you with your issue right away, that help relieve that muscle cramp, that chronic pain, that problem getting to sleep at night. But we also include magnesium because if you use it consistently, as you well know, you also feel better over time, right? Your wellness level improves over time. So we want to address that immediate issue you may be feeling, the pain, having trouble sleeping at night, but we also want you to use a product that will make you feel better if you use it consistently over time. And if you feel better, you can then do other things in your life that will also improve your wellness over time.
And that's also one of the things that we, for example, at the Healing Company, we say we strongly believe in like an increased focus on prevention rather than treatment, because it does help your overall wellness. And I think a lot of people underestimate how important it is to take more of the preventative medicine like magnesium in order to not get into the treatment like area at all, because I think people sometimes they act too late. And so really focusing on like, what can I do for myself in this moment to not even get to this place of having to take any painkillers or medications or anything like that. What do you actually think of like the overall wellness and healing industry?
I love that you're focused on preventing issues at the Healing Company. My hope for the world is that more and more people focus on preventing issues. And that's, I think, what we also stand for at Asutra, right? That's why we talk about active or proactive self-care, because if you engage in self-care practices while you're still relatively healthy, you can avoid a lot of bigger issues down the road. That's what we stand for at Asutra as well. We often talk about reinventing the medicine cabinet. You can find our topical pain relief creams or our sleep ritual, for example, in Target, in the pain and sleep products aisle, which is near their pharmacy. We're on the shelf with ibuprofen and other painkillers. I think it's a really interesting statement that our Target buyer and we are trying to make, which is you came here to get a pill, but here's an alternative. Will actually be healthier for you and will help you feel better over time, so you don't need to keep taking that pill. Yeah. And that's really important because actually, like, one piece of research that I found so interesting that the New York Times reported on is they did an initial study that showed if people take things like ibuprofen or pain pills repeatedly, it can turn acute pain, so a one-time pain issue, into chronic pain that keeps coming back and back. And so they were saying, it would be better if instead of taking pills all the time for pain, people looked at other practices like self-care practices that could help alleviate and improve that pain over time.
Yeah, because painkillers, they don't treat the root cause of the actual problem, right? They just suppress the symptoms and people think they feel better afterwards, but actually the underlying problem that is still existent is not overcome. And so I totally agree. I think really building health from the root up, that's the core. And that's what people have to start doing instead of always like suppressing their symptoms, which will not help their overall health and wellness at all. So I think it's really interesting that your brand is right there where the pharma products are. Did Target place it there themselves, or did you guys have some influence with it?
They did. We originally did approach that Target is called the pain sleep buyer. So the person who looks at all the products to help with alleviating pain and helping you get a better night's sleep, because we knew that's what our products would help with as the immediate need. But what I will give Target a lot of credit for is the buyer said, I think our shopper or our guest does want alternatives to pain pills, to sleeping pills. They want things that are more wellness focused. And I think Asutra is a brand that I personally love and that works for me and that I think can really meet that need of our shopper.
I agree. But great. I think it's really the step into the right direction from Target, placing your products there. So really congrats on that. Maybe can you tell us a little bit more about your personal wellness routine and what is essential for you?
Yeah, I would say sleep first and foremost. Sleep is critical. As we know, the research shows that sleep is so good for a lot of different things. It makes you feel obviously more rested, which in turn helps you be more creative, patient, a better leader, all of those things. So I try to sleep at least 9 hours every night. My ideal is 9.5 hours. And luckily, so far, knock on wood, I don't have the issue of getting up multiple times during the night. But I had to learn to do this. I mean, I didn't sleep well before. I would go to bed really late, and having a wind down routine at night to help get ready for bed and then going to bed and getting up at consistent times has really helped with that. Movement is the second thing. I love moving. I have a lot of energy, especially when I get a lot of good sleep. And you mentioned working out. I love to work out too, whether it's, doing weights or cardio or yoga or Pilates or even just taking a walk. Like a long walk can be so great too, especially outdoors where you can reconnect with nature and get movement at the same time. And then I think, the last thing, we talked about this earlier, but really making time and space to do things that bring me joy and to connect with people that bring me joy. Connecting with friends and family, having those social connections. Research also shows that's so good for well-being over time, especially for folks who are elderly. And then doing the things, whether it's, for me, I'm a piano player, so practicing piano, or I love nature. Doing things outside to reconnect with nature really help recenter me and, relieve that stress, which can also be a real issue for a lot of people.
And what do you think is like this one thing for someone to move into the right direction of having a healthier lifestyle apart from sleeping more?
Honestly, I really do think everybody's wellness journey is different, right? I can't say, well, if you just do this thing, you're going to feel better right away. But what I will say is do one thing. Pick one small thing that you think will make you feel better. Maybe it is going to sleep 30 minutes earlier. Maybe you need more movement. Even 10 minutes of movement is better than 0 minutes of movement, right? Take a walk around the block in between meetings. Maybe you realize you have no time to yourself because you're taking care of your family all day and at work, all day. Maybe you decide, all right, I'm going to take 20 minutes at night for myself. I'm going to read, or I'm going to take a bath, or I'm just going to, sit and meditate, or even just watch TV. I think picking the one thing and then sticking to it, they say that it takes at least 2 weeks to build a habit. So pick one thing, do it for 14 days. And then if you feel like, okay, that habit is helping me feel better, maybe you do more of that thing, or you pick a second thing that you can start doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think just implementing little steps once at a time is really valuable, and not trying to change your lifestyle from one day to the next is, I think, the wrong approach. But like you said, having like little things that make a change and then adding on to it, I think is really powerful. And one question that I have as well is, you put a lot of emphasis on being a woman-led company. What do you think makes it so special, and what are like the advantages of being a woman-led company? And did that start with Venus Williams coming on board, or was that something that you wanted to do prior to that?
I think it's important for a few reasons, right? I mentioned that early in my career, I helped women start small businesses. And I think there are just not enough women in leadership roles. You don't see women running companies or organizations as much as you should. You don't see them in elected office as much as you should. So I think it's important to show that you can have women in various leadership roles. You can have women running things, and those things can go really well. So for me personally, having had a lot of women mentors and bosses in the past, it was important to me that we women owned. Obviously, I'm a woman, Venus is a woman, and women led, right? A lot of our senior leaders are women as well. And then a lot of our customers are women. The majority, I would say, our customers are roughly probably 65% women, 35% men. And if we're going to serve our customers well, then it's important for us to understand the issues they might face. For example, our customer is actually a little bit older. Our core customer is a 35 to 55-year-old woman. Well, what's happening in that time? A lot of those women are going through menopause. And we've actually been finding that putting content out that we've developed in partnership with a couple of our advisory board members, one of whom is a holistic doctor, one of whom is a nurse practitioner, about how magnesium can help with symptoms of menopause or perimenopause. That has gotten a really great response. But if we weren't a woman-owned company, we might not have thought to put that content out there, or we might have felt like, oh, we don't have a position to talk about that issue.
But also, especially with the focus on being a woman-led company, are you thinking about implementing even more products for women health, like fertility, or like you said already, you have magnesium for the menopause, but are you planning on having a more core focused product line solely for women's health?
We are not planning to do that. So, you're seeing a lot of newer brands come out that are specifically focused on menopause symptoms or helping with fertility. I think it's great that those exist, or sexual health and wellness, but that's not our core mission or focus. And I think it's important when you run a business or a brand to not try to be all things to everyone. You mentioned earlier, it's great that we have this core focus on magnesium. For us, it's really about how can we help you get more magnesium into your life for different needs. Again, whether that's pain relief or sleep issues. And those are also pain relief and sleep issues, right, are a couple of symptoms that a lot of women face when they're entering perimenopause or menopause. So it's more about what are the use cases for the magnesium products that we offer.
I've read and heard a lot about your personal business journey that you've been through, and a wide range of businesses that you looked at to buy because you wanted to help female founders. And I think it's just incredible that you, as a customer yourself from Asutra, met this lawyer who introduced you to Asutra, and you got to buy the brand that you knew and loved, which I think is a beautiful story as well. Looking back at your business journey, is there anything that you would change about it?
I think, as any entrepreneur would say, there are probably a million things I would have changed, right? You learn so much every day as an entrepreneur and business owner. I think for me, probably the theme I would say is that early on, we had to build our team from scratch, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we also had to build our partnerships from scratch. So we use a lot of outside partners for specialist areas like social media, Google advertising, managing our business on Amazon. When you're trying to find the right partners, it can be hard to find agencies that really believe in your mission and operate as an extension of your team, but are also really good at the thing you're asking them to do. And I think early on, I made mistakes hiring the wrong agencies. They were not a fit in one way or the other. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing I would go back and change. You can never have 100% hit rate in hiring the right people or the right partners, but what you can do is probably let them go as soon as you realize this isn't going to work out. And that would be the one thing I would change, is to end those partnerships earlier than I had in some cases.
You learn so much as an entrepreneur. And I think also at the end, everything that you've gone through, all the negative things that you've seen, everything shapes you at some point, right? So you learn so much, you grow. So I think these kind of things have to happen in order for you to grow and learn and do the changes after that as well. If there's one piece of advice you would like to give to other female founders or women-led businesses, what would that be?
My one piece of advice for other women founders or entrepreneurs is be really clear on what you want. We live in a world where it's so easy to get caught up other people's ideas of what success looks like. It's about how fast are you growing? How big are you? But a lot of those companies, got backing from financial firms that are pressuring them to grow a certain way or at a certain rate. And maybe growth is the thing that you want. But so often when I talk to other women entrepreneurs, I ask, what do you love to do? And what do you want your life to be like? And what role does your business play in that? Right. And I think it's important to, of course, be very clear on financially, what do you need to accomplish as a business or personally, and how does your business contribute to that? And then I think the question is, okay, and then how do you want to live your life? And therefore, how do you need to build your team, your products, your services, your systems in your business to allow you to do what you're best at and to do the things that bring you joy and, still achieve the financial and other business goals that you have. But I would say really get clear on that for you and what's important to you and your team versus what do other people expect of me.
No, I love that advice. There is an article that I read like a couple months ago where it mentioned that a lot of brands were always focused on becoming a unicorn. Like you said, focus on growth, growth, growth. And now the shift is happening to becoming more like a camel, storing your resources resourcefully and like growing more organically and more sustainably and taking it slower, but being more sufficient with that. It was a beautiful article. I have to share it with you because I had to laugh a lot, but it's so true because I think what you said is so beautiful. Like not only looking at growth and always at the financial success, but actually looking inside of the company and being like, how can I build a company that can grow organically and sustainably and can live on for a long time with a team that is so happy and healthy and really from the ground up being really strong that nothing can really throw it over. And I think these companies a lot of times are so focused on growth that they give all their energy into that and they neglect their personal health, the health of the team. They at some point it can tilt pretty quickly, like we've seen with the market now, like all the brands that have really suffered because they were so focused on growth that they didn't know what to do when the market hit them. And so I think that is such a powerful way of building brands and companies, is really saying I want to build a really healthy company from the inside out, and not only that it looks big and successful from the outside and it crackles in the inside. So yeah, I think that's a really powerful advice. And I hope that all the founders and entrepreneurs starting brands now realize that and take that more seriously.
I would love to see that article. I had not heard the camel. I of course have heard of unicorn, but I hadn't heard of the camel analogy, but I totally agree. I mean, I have to say at Asutra, ever since I bought it in 2018, which is crazy to think it'll be 5 years. Sustainable growth has always been our goal, right? We have always looked at how do we grow organically and sustainably and in a way that both takes care of our customers and takes care of our team.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important. I send the article to you. It's quite fun to read. If there is one daily practice that everyone should be adopting in order to live their life at their fullest, what would it be?
A friend taught me this. I think expressing gratitude, that is something that has really helped me. Obviously I've talked about things like sleep and movement and more nutritious eating, but I think gratitude, it's such a simple thing, but it really has incredible power. And you can do it a number of ways. The way I do it is actually when I'm lying down at night in bed, getting ready to fall asleep, I do almost like a mini meditation where I review my day that I just had and I pick out the few things that I was really grateful for and I say them to myself in my mind. I know other people who have a journaling practice where every morning they'll write down something that they were grateful for the previous day. But I think really reflecting on every single day what you're grateful for, because even if it was a terrible day, there's usually at least one thing, even if it's a small thing, that you can be grateful for. And I think it helps put you in the right mindset. Research has shown that people who do express that gratitude, they find more resilience and they find more happiness in their everyday lives as well.
No, I think gratitude is so important. And I've been trying, obviously there are days where I miss it, but Deepak actually taught me one simple meditation because I try to meditate every morning, do my breath work, meditate, my little yoga session. And he said, sometimes meditation doesn't even need to be sitting in silence, but just ask yourself these 4 simple questions. Who am I? what do I want? What is my purpose and what am I grateful for? And so in my meditation, I try to always answer this question to myself. And it's so powerful because just like waking up like this, answering these 4 questions, starting into the day, it just like sets the tone for the day in such a positive way that like nothing can really throw you off. So I agree that this gratitude moment is so powerful and just like sometimes puts things into perspective that happen throughout the day or that stress you out. And just coming back to these moments of gratitude is just like, really like calms you down. And it's just like, okay, it's not as bad as it seems. So yeah, I totally agree. It's really powerful. Why is it imperative in your view to bring integrated healing to the world?
I think we can, obviously I'm of Asian descent, and I think there's so much we can learn from both Eastern medicine and Western medicine that can create a more holistic approach to wellness. We talked earlier about being preventive or proactive, and I think that's a big part of it too. We know certain things help you lead a healthier life, right? We know that if you reduce your stress, if you get good sleep, if you have good nutrition, if you get movement, we know these, if you get enough water, if you have a gratitude practice or some way to have mindfulness, all of these things help with overall well-being, mind, body, and soul. And, at Asutra, we're really focused on helping you take care of yourself on purpose, as I said, and that is in a holistic way. It might be physical by helping relieve pain. It might be mental by helping you get better sleep because then your mental state feels better. It might be your soul. Use an aromatherapy spray, use that essential oil to reboot your mood in a certain way. Use it during your morning meditation to help your soul feel renewed or rejuvenated. And I think this approach is just so important in general. I think if we all first recognize or acknowledge that taking care of ourselves well, taking care of ourselves in integrated, holistic ways, mind, body, and soul is important. And then, like we talked about before, picking one thing, doing one thing that helps in the area that perhaps you need it most or you feel most inspired to do. I really do believe if each of us acknowledges that and takes some kind of action towards holistic self-care, we will be better humans and we will be better in our communities. And in turn, that really will make things in the world better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I would love to know a little bit more about your personal inspiration. Who do you learn from? Or who do you see achieving breakthroughs in healing?
I really learned from my team. I feel extremely grateful to have built an amazing team. Obviously, I learned from Venus. You know that she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Sjogren's. And that was really tough as a professional athlete, right? She was feeling a lot of fatigue. It was very difficult for her to train, and they could not figure out what it was, and they finally diagnosed it as Sjogren's. So she had to really change her lifestyle. She became mostly plant-based or vegan in her diet. She prioritizes sleep all the time and sufficient rest. But even the team of people that, for example, works in our warehouse, who packs and ships customer orders, we have somebody who wants to get a lot more movement to lose weight and improve his blood pressure, and he's taking small daily steps to do that. He and I were having a conversation that, again, it's better to do 20 minutes on the stationary bike than 0 minutes, right? And just getting back into it. We have another woman who handles our customer service who unfortunately has MS, and she's had to radically alter her lifestyle. And we've reorganized her job duties so that she can work from home and get the rest and the care that she needs. And she's also doing things for her mental well-being to let go of things that she used to hold on to and really help herself move on from things in a way that was more difficult for her before. Seeing my team take those steps, even when it's really hard, and stick with it, that's a huge inspiration for me.
I love that you just acknowledge your team and even the people that are like in the background of the company handling all of the fulfillments in the warehouse. It's beautiful that you know so much about these people as well. You just telling me about the people working in your warehouse, their personal life stories, and how you rearrange their life in order to do their work, but also handle their own health, I think is so powerful. And I hope that more brands out there will start and really care about every single person in their team, because I think a lot of times the people that work in the background, they're a little bit forgotten or neglected. And so, yeah, I really love that you just mentioned these people and acknowledged them. Are there any books or podcasts that have provided you the most inspiration in life?
I think on the books front, not directly. It's not like I read this particular book and it changed my whole view on lifestyle or habits or how I live my life per se. But I do love to read, and I love to read a variety of things, everything from fiction to memoirs to nonfiction that talks about our environment or our political system or our culture. And I think actually just reading things on a lot of different topics by a lot of different types of authors, that has been an inspiration to me because it helps you think in different ways, or it helps you come up with new ideas or see the world through somebody else's eyes. And I think that's always helpful as an entrepreneur, is to constantly see those different perspectives that can spark your creativity.
What is one other person that just like pops up in your mind that you would say I must speak to get a unique perspective on integrated healing?
Oh, wow. Honestly, I really love what you all are doing at the Healing Company. I think the integrative approach, really focusing on a holistic approach, is great. I think that's incredible. You mentioned Deepak Chopra. I love everything that he and his team put out. I have done a lot of his meditations as well. And I think even just the affirmations that he puts out on social media are great. The other person that I think has really interesting things to say is Ariana Huffington. She talks very openly about how she is burned out. She has hit walls in the past by not sleeping well or having health issues, and that coming out the other side, she's learned how important it is to take care of herself on purpose and to define her own version of success. And so I think she's always sharing really great advice, but also examples of how other people are doing that.
That's a good one. And what is next on your healing journey? What are you most excited for?
Yeah, I think what I'm most excited for is to really continue this journey at Asutra and see how can we reach and impact more people on their wellness journeys through our products and through our tips and inspiration. How can we continue to prove that you can do that in a sustainable way, right? Sustainably financially by growing organically and making smart financial investments to get the right return, but also sustainably for us as people. I mean, we really do prioritize work-life balance. We prioritize health and wellness first. Everybody goes to their doctor's appointments to make sure that they're taking care of their health proactively. We talk about sleep and mood and movement and all of those things as a team. And we make sure people take vacations, all of those types of things. And I think if we can prove at Asutra that you can have a healthy business that serves a unique customer need, and you can treat your employees really well with dignity and respect and a focus on their overall well-being and sense of belonging, like hopefully we can provide an example or a model of how other businesses can operate. And I really do believe that if people feel that their well-being matters, feel that who they are matters, feel that they belong in their workplaces, that will have a tremendous ripple effect on everything else, because they'll come home to their families or their friends feeling better, right? They'll engage with their friends in their communities feeling better.
Yeah, that's so powerful, Stephanie. I totally agree. It has just such a ripple effect. Everyone just becomes so much more just like at ease with themselves and with their life around them. And that will lead a better family life, better friendships, everything. So I agree. It's really powerful and important. And where can people follow you to keep up to date?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us on all the social media channels. For Asutra, we are Asutra, ASUTRA.life on Instagram and Facebook, and we're building out videos on YouTube as well. And then, of course, you can find us on our website at asutra.com. And then you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn as well at Stephanie Morimoto.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I think that was a beautiful interview. I learned a lot about you, about the brand, and I'll definitely follow you guys on your path and what you're doing next. So very grateful for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Let's definitely stay connected.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.